Once upon a time, a small band of Vikings found an island of ice and fire. It was a harsh but beautiful place, and for 1,000 years they survived off the fish in the sea and the sheep in the meadows. Dirt poor but wildly creative. Iceland invented the saga, intricate tales of fairies and goblins, heroes and ghosts. And with these bright minds and strong backs, they evolved into one of the best educated and most comfortable societies on Earth. And then a modern saga began when the rulers of this place unleashed the bankers, allowing financial Vikings to search for plunder around the world. They made a few deals and brought home a fortune. They used it to borrow vast sums and make even bigger deals, buying soccer teams and airlines and grocery chains. They built banks in foreign lands and were hailed as heroes.
Suddenly, in a country where you have never seen rich people, we had people who were making $1 million a month.
Ships began to arrive filled with German cars and French wine. And their once humble currency, with a fish on every coin, became incredibly valuable. But while they could afford all sorts of foreign goodies, prices at home were going way up. So the island's rulers raised interest rates to control the inflation. But it didn't work, because people realized that they could borrow Japanese yen or Swiss francs, put it in Icelandic banks, and make 10% without even trying. And suddenly, for the first time in 1,000 years, Icelanders didn't need to chase cod to make money. They could make money with borrowed money. And boy, could they make a lot of money. Stefan the fisherman left his boat and joined a bank.
I got a bigger house, I got bigger and more cars, and that was nice.
Booby, the blue-collar folk singer, started selling his music for commercials. He became a judge on Icelandic Idol and began hanging out with those financial Vikings. And Inga and her husband began spending less time with the kids, more time at their bank jobs.
Everyone had to have the largest cars, the biggest houses, and people our age, around 30, they were just floating in money.
I kind of felt like I had arrived in Potterswell in the movie It's a Wonderful Life. Everything had changed so much, so fast.
During this party, few people were concerned that Iceland's big banks had borrowed 6 times more than the entire nation produces in a year, or that they had invested most of it in something from America called mortgage-backed securities. After all, a big bank in New York had done the same, but when that bank crashed, Iceland's economy followed, almost overnight.
I lost a lot of money. I lost my job.
I owe a lot of money. I lost everything. I lost millions.
Technically speaking, we are bankrupt.
Like so many Icelanders, the value of their home collapsed almost instantly. And instead of owning much of their home, suddenly they owed the bank much more than it's worth. People looked to their government for help, but they seemed confused, paralyzed.
okkur ber engar lagalega skyldur til að ábyrgjast þessa skuldir.
Við íslenskir vikingar eigum ekki stýri.
Ugly schadenfreude in this chamber following the collapse of the Icelandic banks. A number of Federalist colleagues, British and continental, were coming up to me saying, Annan, how are your Icelanders doing now? This is what happens to you if you remain standoffish about Europe. Well, who's laughing now? Iceland, having devalued because it wasn't in the euro, has exported its way to growth and enjoys a rate of growth which is the envy of the eurozone-stricken economies. And because it didn't make this terrible mistake of assuming the bad debts of private institutions, then it will begin, once this IceSafe dispute is cleared, with a debt to GDP ratio which is the envy of Europe. 67% of Icelanders in the last poll are now against EU membership because they understand what it would mean. Their resources plundered, their seas emptied, their democracy vitiated, the oldest parliament in the world turned into a local authority chamber. Icelanders are a shrewd and canny people with wisdom bred in the bone by hundreds of years of struggling in difficult conditions. They know far better than to throw away their freedom.